So Flash, is this going to be a speedy interview?
It's going to be fairly speedy because the batteries are running out on our microphone, so...
Oh, it's Superman's fault. Okay.
Yeah, it's the editor's fault. So I'm here with Neil Gibson, the author of Twisted Dark. Do you want to tell us a bit about your book?
Sure, it depends what you like reading. We tell people that if you like superheroes or romance novels, this probably isn't for you, because it's psychological thriller. So what it is a series of short stories, kind of like The Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits or Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected. All the stories are quite dark and they're quite twisted in nature and normally have shock endings. But all the stories connect to each other. So as you go through all the volumes, it's designed to be read multiple times because you get more from it each time because you figure out all the connections.
Right, so kind of part comic, part puzzle game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's great if you're commuting because you get a short story and it's satisfying in its own self, but you get more of the whole world as you reread it because you get this and you see the connection, kind of like in Lost. You see or Heroes, all the connections that people have.
So it's like recurring characters kind of appearing in and out, or thematically linked?
Both of those. To me, the most fun is the recurring characters, especially if you see them like 10 years after you saw them last time. You won't recognize who they are unless there's subtle clues in the conversation. And then some people will go, oh, I get it. Some people won't even notice it. Yeah. And that's why it's fun to talk with your friends and figure out what the connections are. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about the kind of how you end up here, like what the concept, how it started.
Sure. Well, I started reading comics when I was 23, so I was a bit late to the game. Yeah. I was living in Vancouver at the time and I was backpacking, and I walked past a shop and it had a picture of Wolverine there. Now, the film X-Men had just come out and my buddy fancied himself as Wolverine, so I thought I'd buy it as a joke gift. And I went in the shop, it's a comic book shop, and they heard my British accent and they started talking to me as if I personally knew Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Garth Ennis, and I didn't even have a clue who these people were. I didn't read comics. When they found that out, they said with such passion, they got Watchmen and said, buy this. So I was a complete man, and I said, okay. And I bought the book and ran away.
We've all been there.
Well, I was hooked. I've been hooked ever since. But my career, I was a management consultant, and I was working in the Middle East, and this was 2 years ago. And actually, it was quite an easy project. And in the evenings, I had time to myself, and I thought, why don't I try writing comics? I love them so much. And that's how Twisted Dark started.
All right, awesome. So you just want to tell people finally where they can buy your book, how it can happen, how they can start reading, jump on?
Sure. Well, I think the simplest thing to do is if you don't want to spend much money and you want to try something new, Comixology, you can get this entire book for 69 pence. So that's www.comixology, comixology.com, and look for Twisted Dark. If you got, actually, could you pass that little thing there? That thing, yeah, great. This is Samuel L. Jackson. He was looking at our comic the other day. He actually told me off because I only gave him volume 1. And he said, where's volume 2 or 3? With a really high-pitched voice. It scared me, so I thought, here you go. If anyone gives the best caption for what he's saying here on our Facebook page, they'll get volume 4 for free.
Well,
so there's a competition. Or on the 15th of November, I'm at the Apple Store. They've asked me to give a talk there about comics. Because my mission before I die, I want to change the way comics are viewed by people. Because you can tell stories by art, music, dance, photography, loads of different ways. But no one looks down on those art forms, but they look down on comics. And to me, that's a great shame because you shouldn't do that. There are a lot of awful comics, but there are some amazing ones. And so that's what I'm talking about at the Apple Store, and I really want everyone to read more comics.
All right, cheers, man. Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, cheers. Thank you.
Oh, I'm here with Ricky Pitcher, author and creator of Burn. Tell us a bit about your book.
Brilliant. Well, my comic goes on sale on Kickstarter on October 31st. Kickstarter's opening to UK. It's a crowdfunding website and it lets people buy into exciting projects. Burn's set in a dystopian future, but it's not about society having an apocalyptic event making it totally different. It's that what's bad of our world now, the stressful, hard workload of everyday life, got worse and worse and worse. Now everyone lives on an emotional knife edge, and everyone is that close to being a serial killer, snapping and going rogue. And that's what we've got, it's a world where everyone is a potential serial killer.
So tell us a bit, like, how did it get to here? What was the inspiration? How did it start? How are you now here at the Expo? Like, what's that journey?
Well, I wanted to make this comic, but I want it to not just be on shelves and comic book shops, no one reading it. I wanted people to know about it, and that's why it's been launched on Kickstarter. It gives people the opportunity to learn a bit about it. The first chapter's already been drawn up. People can go online and read chapter 1 before they buy it, so there's everything you need to know.
All right, cool. Thanks very much. All your information about how you can go on the Kickstarter and get this comic will all be down below, and thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, I'm here with Gary Erskine and Deadly DeVito, and tell us a bit about the book that you've got here today.
Thank you. The comic is called Grrrls. So far we've released our sketchbook, and it's based on the world of roller derby. My wife and I created it, and we're writing it together, and I'm doing all the illustration, and it's basically a work of love. We're lucky to have the support of the London Rock and Rollers, as well as many other derby teams. It's for them and for the fans, and hopefully some of the comic fans will like it too. But it's a new departure, and we're publishing it ourselves, we're distributing it ourselves, so that obviously takes a lot more work.
So it's about the roller derbies. Is it a character piece? Like, what kind of thing are we going to expect from the plot?
There have been some previous released roller derby comics about 4 or 5 years ago in the States, but they were always zombies or trans-dimensional beings or something like that, and it never works because it's not appealing to either one audience, the comic fans, or the derby crowd. It's sort of lost in the middle. We're doing it purely for the derby community. It's a drama-based piece, a large ensemble-based piece, very much like a huge soap. We've got all the characters living and breathing, dealing with everyday life, relationships, work, social issues, health issues. If EastEnders can bring in 18 million people, 4 times a week, we're hoping for a small little portion of that. It's just about real life.
So I'm interested, a lot of people that will be watching this show are going to be people sitting in front of the computer screens thinking, I want to write a comic, I want to be there. What's the journey to get from that thought to sitting here, getting out there, promoting it?
A lot of long hours, hard work, and lost weekends. It's not easy, it really isn't. We've invested a lot of time over and above our 40 hours a week that we have real life jobs with. But with digital printing, that's certainly made it a lot easier. You can get things online, you can print on demand. We decided to commit, because we're confident about the project, to an actual physical print run. But if people can't afford that, they should definitely consider digital first. Get a free website, put your artwork up. There's nothing to stop you except finding the time to create it. And as you can see from a lot of people in the comic village, there's a lot of people doing it for themselves, and that's really encouraging.
Finally, is it a website we can go to find out more?
Well, for Roller Grrrls, rollergrrls.com, which you have to spell with 3 R's. And what that is a hub. And from there you can find us on Twitter, Tumblr. We've got Facebook fan page, which is probably the most interactive part of what we do in the social media. And you can also find the London Rock and Rollers on...
We are the londonrockandrollers.co.uk, and you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And you can also come to our next bout, which is on the 15th of December at York Hall, which is in Bethnal Green.
Awesome, thank you very much, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.